There was once a man named Elias. He lived in a city that never rested, where the noise of ambition filled every corner and silence felt like a forgotten language. Elias worked hard. He had dreams, goals, and 100 plans for tomorrow. Yet every night when he lay down, his thoughts refused to quiet. They circled him like restless birds, memories of mistakes, fears of what might come, and the constant whisper of, "You are not doing enough." He was surrounded by people, yet he often felt alone, trapped in a storm only he could feel. One day, while walking home, he passed by an old bookshop tucked between two tall buildings. The air inside smelled of dust and old paper, the kind of place that seems to breathe wisdom. He wandered through the narrow aisles until a small book caught his eye. Its cover was plain, its title simple, Meditations. He opened it. The words inside were ancient, written by a Roman emperor named Marcus Aurelius, a man who had commanded armies, faced wars, and carried the weight of an empire, yet still wrote privately about peace, humility, and the quiet of the soul. Elias bought the book. That night he sat by his window, city lights flickering like distant stars, and began to read. One line stopped him completely. "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He read it again, then again, and somehow it felt like Marcus was speaking directly to him across centuries, reminding him that peace was not something to chase, but something to return to. Still, Elias didn't understand. How could peace exist in a world this noisy? How could a mind stop thinking when everything demanded attention? He decided to seek clarity the next day. The following morning, he traveled to a quiet coastal town a few hours away, a place someone had once told him the philosopher Epictetus had lived in his final years. There, near the sea, stood a small monastery. Its walls were faded, its courtyard open to the wind. An elderly monk was sweeping the path when Elias approached. "Excuse me," Elias said softly. "I've been reading the words of Marcus Aurelius. He says peace comes from within, but I don't know how to find it. My thoughts never stop." The monk looked up with gentle eyes and said, "Then perhaps it is time you learned how to watch them." He invited Elias inside and gave him a small bowl filled to the brim with water. "Walk around the courtyard," the monk said, "without spilling a single drop. Then come back." Elias smiled. It seemed simple enough. He began walking slowly, holding the bowl carefully. The sea wind brushed his face, birds sang above, and distant bells rang softly. But his focus stayed on the water, on every movement of his hands, every breath he took. He noticed how his steps adjusted, how his thoughts quieted. When he returned, not a drop was spilled. The monk nodded and said, "Tell me, my friend, while you walked, did you think of your past mistakes? Did you worry about tomorrow?" Elias shook his head. "No, I only thought about the water." The monk smiled. "And that," he said, "is the essence of peace." When the mind stays where the body is, not wandering behind or racing ahead, calmness appears on its own. You do not chase peace. You allow it. Elias stood silent. The words were simple, yet they felt vast, like the ocean stretching before him. That evening, as the sun sank into the horizon, Elias sat by the shore. He closed his eyes. He noticed the sound of waves folding against the sand, the slow rhythm of his breathing, the cool air resting on his skin. For the first time in years, he wasn't trying to fix anything. He wasn't replaying the past or imagining the future. He was simply there, present, aware, alive. He remembered another line from Marcus Aurelius. "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." And in that moment, he understood. Peace wasn't in the mountains or the monastery. It wasn't hidden in success or silence or escape. It was in this, the The simple act of being here, of allowing life to unfold without resistance. He smiled. For the first time, the storm inside him began to fade. Years later, Elias often told the story to his students, not as a lesson, but as a reminder. He would fill a glass of water, place it gently on the table, and say, "The world will always shake. But the stillness you seek is within this glass. It's not about holding the water perfectly still. It's about learning to be steady while it moves." Then he would look at them and add softly, "When you return your mind to this moment, to what is, you return home to yourself." The next time you feel restless, when thoughts rush and worries spill over, imagine that bowl of water. Walk slowly, breathe gently. Watch your thoughts without chasing them. Because in truth, peace was never gone. It was simply waiting for you to notice it.